welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. In August I read 17 books and my average rating was 3.88 stars. I definitely read quite a bit of romance this month, and that's not like generally really typical of me every month, but I definitely needed some like lighthearted and fluffier reads for August. So let's get started. These are in no particular order. I'm just kind of going on like how they're stacked around me. I have Out on a Limb, and this one I gave 5 stars. I am absolutely obsessed with this. I loved this book so much. It's such a sweet story, but it's told with a lot of heart, but also a lot of humor. There were so many times where I just like laughed out loud. It was just so good. In this one, we have our two main characters, Win and Bo, and they both have limb differences. And they meet at a party one night, and this isn't a spoiler because it's like in the synopsis, but she ends up pregnant, and then the book goes from there. Like that's right at the very beginning. This one is just such a sweet story. Like I said, it's told with so much heart, but it is just so funny. I loved seeing Win and Bo get to know each other more. Like I just absolutely love this one, and I would recommend this one to like everyone. The next one I read is called The Wild, and this one is the third in a series with our main character, Detective Ellen Warner. So in this one we have like a few different points of view and I think like a few timelines, but we have our main character Kier, I believe is how you say her name, and she goes missing while she's in like a national park with her boyfriend. And then we have Detective Ellen Warner, and she's vacationing at the same spot where this woman went missing previously. I want to say like a few months or maybe a year before that. She is on vacation with her brother in the same spot, and they get kind of wrapped up trying to figure out what happened to Kier. It's kind of a cold case now. No one really knows what happened to her. The premise sounded super interesting, but I gave it 3 stars, which I think it was like a low 3 stars for me. I didn't find myself very invested in the story or the characters. It was a fine thriller. It was decent. The first 2 in the series are better than this one in my opinion, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. The next one is A Monsoon Rising, and this is the sequel to the Hurricane Wars. I really liked the Hurricane Wars. Like I really enjoyed it, but I definitely like this one even more. I feel like we got a lot more character growth. There wasn't a ton in terms of building up more of like the fantasy world or a ton going into the politics, but it definitely ended setting up the third book to be like pretty explosive. I'm assuming it was fun seeing more character growth and character development both on their own as well as together. So this one I gave 4.5 stars. I'm not going to say the synopsis for A Monsoon Rising, but for the Hurricane Wars, I'm just going to read like a very quick little sentence from Goodreads. It says, on opposite sides of a vicious war, a soldier who can channel light magic and a prince who summons shadows find themselves locked in a deadly dance that neither can seem to truly win. As the continent falls to howling winds and violent lightning brought on by a ruthless emperor's fleet of storm ships, the only way for Taliesin to save countless lives is to reclaim her birthright and to enter into a fraught political marriage with Prince Alaric, the very man she had sworn to destroy. This one is known to be inspired by like the Reylo fandom, which is from Star Wars, and I only recently saw the first one in the like series of 3 movies that involve those 2 characters. I don't remember their names in Star Wars, but it's the one with Adam Driver, and so Prince Alaric is based on Adam Driver's character from Star Wars. Anyways, so I really liked A Monsoon Rising. I think I gave 4.5 stars to the Hurricane Wars, but definitely 4.5 stars for A Monsoon Rising. I really liked it. And then next I read The Honey Witch, and this one I gave 4 stars. This one is like a sapphic, cozy, witchy fantasy, and I really liked it. We have our main character Marigold, and she always felt kind of different throughout her life growing up. And then her grandmother shows up one day and is like, by the way, you're a witch. We come from a family of witches. There's a curse. You need to come back to the island with me because I'm going to die soon and I need to train you to take over. So that's kind of where it starts, and it's a very cozy story. I really liked it until the end. The ending kind of threw me off. Like the last quarter of it was very weird to me. It felt very different from the rest of the book, and it was kind of like out of left field. The vibes were weird. I didn't love that part, but the rest of it was really good, and I'm not mad at how it ended. I would say if you like Legends and Lattes and the Spellshop, which I'm also going to be talking about, then you would probably like this one, or it's worth checking out. Next, I finally read Icebreaker, and this one I've been wanting to read for quite a while. It's very popular, and then the third one in the series just came out, so I really wanted to read this one. This one is a sports romance set at a university, and it involves Anastasia and Nate. Anastasia is a figure skater. She's been doing it like her whole life. Her goal is to make it to the Olympics. And then Nate is the captain of the hockey team, and there's like a malfunction with one of the rinks, and they have to end up sharing the rink. So they have to kind of work out the schedules so that they can share it and fit in time for practices stars and all that kind of stuff. So Nate and Anastasia hate each other right from the get-go. They do not like each other, but they have to end up kind of working together and they get to know each other. It just kind of goes from there. I really liked it a lot. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars, and I'm very excited to continue on with the series. I might skip the second and save that for next summer because it takes place at like a camp with camp counselors or something with some of the friends from this one. So I might just go right into the third, which just came out, which I know will have spoilers for the second one, but I'm fine with that. The next is The Stranger Upstairs, and this one I really did not love. I think I gave it 3 stars, but it would probably be closer to like a 2.75. It's very short, and yet it took me forever to get through. I actually started this, I think, last year, and I only just picked it back up and had to restart. It was not like the easiest book for me to get through. Since it is so short and a thriller, I don't want to get into the synopsis just because I think it would be really fun to go into this one blind, but there is a few words on the back, and it says, a gruesome history, a hostile neighborhood, a new owner with a shocking secret, welcome to Blackwood House. I think I'm in the minority. Like, I think most people really liked this. I forget what the average rating was on Goodreads. The main character drove me crazy. Like, I definitely feel like we should have been rooting for her, but I just was not. Like, she was absolutely driving me crazy. She was definitely meant to be unlikable. I just couldn't get over how much I disliked her. The next one I read is The Examiner, and this one is by Janice Hallett, and she is known for her thrillers that are very mixed media. So her novels are all formatted in like text messages, emails, voicemail transcript, interview transcripts, and there's not really like any sort of dialogue or anything going on the page. It's told all through multimedia. I really loved her 3 others that I read. 2 are full novels, and then one I believe was a Christmas novella, I think. This one I gave 3 stars. I wasn't a huge fan. It's definitely commendable, like how much work, effort, and like thought has to go into like planning this story out when you're telling it in transcripts like this. I just didn't really like the direction the plot went, but I didn't find anything wrong with like the writing or the storytelling or formatting, but I just didn't love the direction that the story went in. This one follows a very small group of students in a master's art class. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them. So we're following along on their year in this course, building up to this big crescendo, but there's drama within the group. There's like suspicious stuff going on with the admin and the teachers. Within the students, there's like fighting and secrets. I was really like invested for a very long time until it started getting into like some weird territory. Not weird, just like I just didn't care about where the plot was going, like I said. But yeah, so this one I gave 3 stars. Next, I have The Spellshop, and this one is another like cozy witchy fantasy. There is like a subplot of romance. It's very cute. We have our main character Keela, and she's like a librarian at the archives in this big city. However, right at the very beginning, there's like an uprising or something's going on. So she like escapes on a boat with her talking plant. She flees to the small island. There's a very small community. They're very tight-knit. So she goes and moves into her old childhood home that like no one has been to in forever. She has to kind of work her way into the community. However, she doesn't really like people very much. She doesn't really like to interact with people. She's very much like introverted and like independent. However, she has to rely on people when she gets there to help her kind of get on her feet. This one is a very cute story. It's very cozy. There's some magical creatures. There's obviously this talking plant. And again, I would highly recommend this if you like legends and lattes and other cozy fantasies. Oh, especially Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And I gave this one 4 stars, I think. I have my second out of 3 sports romances for the month, and this one is Collide, and this one is another hockey romance. We have our main characters, Summer and Aiden is the captain of the hockey team, and Summer is, I think, a student in psychology. Then her advisor for like her final project pairs her with Aiden to do some sort of like sports psychology. We don't really know why at the very beginning, but it's very known that Summer does not like hockey players. She doesn't like hockey in general. She wants nothing to do with Aiden or his friends or anything to do with hockey. Aiden is very much go with the flow. Summer is very type A. She has like a 5, 10, and 25-year plan, but they have to work together, get to know each other, and very much like Icebreaker, it all just kind of goes from there. If you like Icebreaker, I would recommend checking this one out. This one I gave 4 stars. Next, I read The Hunted Heir, which is the sequel to The Veiled Kingdom. They're both on Kindle Unlimited. The Hunted Heir just came out at the very end of August. I think I gave the first one, The Veiled Kingdom, like 4 or 4.5 stars. I really liked it. And then I had super high expectations for the sequel, and it just fell so flat for me. I gave it like 3 stars, but that's pretty generous for how I felt about it. Even at the very end, like the last page, I thought my Kindle was glitching, so I was like, it can't just end like this. Like, this feels so unfinished. But no, it was the ending. So that was really disappointing, and I felt like nothing really happened. So I won't say the synopsis for The Hunted Heir, but The Veiled Kingdom is about this princess, and she's been mistreated and abused by her dad, the king, for her whole life. So she breaks out and makes a run for it. Group, and she's captured by them. They don't know who she is, but they say basically like, well, now you know about us and everything, so you can either join us or we'll kill you. And so she joins them, and she's kept her identity a secret. You just kind of see how it goes from there, and how it is living with the rebels, and kind of the whole political system they have set up and their sub society that they have set up. It's really interesting. I liked it. It's not like groundbreaking high epic fantasy or anything. It's definitely like a very basic romantasy, but it is fun. It's fast paced, and I really liked the first one. And like I said, the second one was like a generous 3 stars. Things We Never Got Over. This one I gave 4 stars. I really liked this one. I started, there's also like a Rebel, put it down and just never really picked it back up, but I'm so happy that I finally picked it up and finished it. This one is a completed trilogy, so I'm excited to get to the second, which I already have, and then get on to the third. I've heard the second isn't as good, and the third one was highly anticipated, and I saw some people were disappointed by it, but I'm very excited for the rest of them. In this one, we have our main characters, Naomi and Knox. We start off the book with Naomi on the run. She's like a runaway bride. She left her wedding. She's running off to this small town where her twin, Tina, has been living. However, when she gets there, there's a ton of drama. Tina has just like up and vanished, purposely left, and she left behind her 11-year-old daughter, who Naomi and like the rest of her family didn't know that Tina had. And so you see Naomi kind of settling into this town, getting to know people, becoming a guardian all of a sudden to this 11-year-old. And it's really heartwarming. It's sweet, it's sad, it's cute, it's happy. It's pretty much like every emotion wrapped up in this book. And I think this one would actually make like a very good Netflix like limited series, like 1 season show. I also read The Hobbit, and this one I gave 5 stars. I'm so happy that I finally got around to this. I read it as like a buddy read with my dad, and we both loved it. He read it a long time ago, and he read Lord of the Rings a long time ago as well. If you don't really know, then it's so much to like unpack and so much like backstory. I don't really know what to say about The Hobbit. It's just such a well-known story to get into. I really loved it. It definitely lived up to my expectations. It wasn't as hard to read as I was scared it might be. I was definitely intimidated, but it was not difficult to get into at all because it is from so long ago. I was just a little bit nervous. We're gonna read Lord of the Rings next, so I'm very excited to move on to that. I also read The House on Cold Creek Lane, and this one was really good. I gave it 3.75 stars. I'm not going to go into it, but I do want to read this little part that says, "Who was I? What did I become? Breathe, I commanded. You're doing this for your family." And then from a different point of view, it says, "I promised myself I wouldn't go to that neighborhood again. Not that street, not so soon, but I couldn't help it. They made it too easy." Then it ends with, "Though Laurel and Corey have never met, the women have something in common, and if they're not careful, it may just destroy them both." So this one is like a domestic psychological thriller, and I really liked it. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about it. There's some twists and turns, and I really enjoyed it. The next one I read is Haunted Ever After, and this one is a small town romance with like a haunted house situation. So we have our main character Cassie, and she kind of like flees her current life because she feels left behind by all her friends who are married and having kids, and she's single, and she's just like not very happy. So she moves to this small seaside town in Florida. She moves into this house that kind of has a reputation in town that she didn't know about. Lots of stuff going on in this house. She very much believes it's haunted. Cassie meets Nick, who is trying to help her out and kind of give her the lay of the land and give her a tour of the town. This one I didn't love. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't really feel invested. I felt myself like not really caring about the characters or about the story, how it was gonna go, what was gonna happen. I just didn't really feel invested at all, and I was like very minimally entertained. So I was kind of disappointed with this one, and yeah, I gave it 3 stars. I also read I Need You to Read This, and this one I gave 3.75 stars apparently. I would definitely bump it down to like 3 stars. It's a psychological thriller and our main character is Alex. And many years ago, our main character Alex left her like crappy small town behind and went to New York City to kind of create this whole new life for herself. This one I'm going to give very basic synopsis for, but basically Alex had this childhood hero. She was an advice columnist named Frances, and she winds up murdered. And then there's a job posting for Frances's job, and so Alex applies and gets the job. From there, a bunch of like weird, creepy, scary things are happening. She's getting like threatening note. That's pretty much all I want to say. I didn't love it. Like I said, I would bump it down to 3 stars from 3.75. Now that I've had time to like think about it, but I had high expectations because I read her book, The Golden Spoon, from early last year. I really liked that one. So this one I was a little disappointed by. I also read Vampires Never Say Die, and this one is kind of just like a silly, goofy time. Like, do not go into this one taking it seriously. You will not like it if you do that, I don't think. We have our main character Carrie, and she lives in LA. She's an aspiring actress working as a bartender. She has a coworker who's also a bartender, and she hates him. Like, she absolutely hates him. He becomes a vampire one night unbeknownst to her, but the next day she wakes up and she has like abs. She's like super fit randomly, and she has all these changes about her. And then she discovers that he became a vampire, and since she hated him so much, she became like the slayer meant to kill him, because in this book, for every vampire born, there's also like a slayer that's developed personally for that vampire. So now her whole like sole mission in life is to kill her vampire coworker. It had quite a few like laugh out loud moments for me. I gave it 4 stars. In August, I needed a lot of like silly, lighthearted, fluffy books, and the ones that I picked up definitely delivered, and this one was not an exception. Lastly, I read The Night Shift, and this one involves our main character Kendall, who goes to university and she works in the library on campus. And then there's Vincent, who is like the basketball team all-star at this university. He comes in because he's like failing one of his classes, I think, and he needs to do some research, and he asked her for help, I think. Now I don't really remember. I think I gave this one 4 stars, but I really liked it. I read it super quickly. It was a lot of fun. It was really cute because of how like bookish she was. I love reading books about books, or books about people that love books. This one did not disappoint. And like an earlier book I mentioned, it was really cute to see their character development and growth like solo as well as together. And yeah, this one was just really cute, and it's gonna be a series, like an interconnected standalone series, so I'm really excited to read the next one. So that was my August wrap up. Thank you so much if you made it to this point in the video. I had a decent reading month for August. I had a pretty high average rating with 3.88 stars. Now that September, I'm definitely gonna be leaning more into like spooky, scary. I already posted my September TBR, so if you want to check that out, I'll have it linked below. And then I'm gonna be filming my fall TBR in the next few days and posting that as well. So I'm just very excited. It's fall, I mean, not till the end of September, but it's basically fall now. So if you've made it to this point, let me know what your favorite book was from August, and maybe what you're most looking forward to reading in fall, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.